Okay, so our next section is going to be about Excel, and I'm going to use Excel 2016 because it's available on all the public computers here at MCPHS. And we're just going to cover some basic items. For many of you, I'm sure you've used Excel and you're comfortable with the basic functions, and many of you are also comfortable with things beyond the basic function. So you really don't have to pay a lot of attention to this section. We'll be on the graded assignment, we'll be on the quiz, but you should be able to handle it without any problems. For those of you who have never used Excel, and that's really what this training is aimed at, we want to make sure that you leave this class and you leave our programs with at least some basic understanding of Excel and how to use it. It's industry standard. Almost every organization makes the assumption that you can use Excel when you get into the workforce. And you'll find it very helpful in this course as well. So let me just go through some basics, and then we'll go through a brief exercise that I'll ask you to work on individually. So Excel is a spreadsheet program. And so a spreadsheet is basically an array of, it's a large table with an array of cells. And the cells are organized into columns, which are lettered, and rows, which are numbered. And generally, we can put data into each of the cells. So if I want to identify a particular location in the spreadsheet, we typically refer to it as a cell location. So the cell location D5 has this alpha information called health sciences. And the cell location B2 has this class year of 2017. So in the Excel spreadsheet, we can put numbers, or we can put alpha, and it's used extensively in the accounting world, because the accounting professionals typically use it to put in basic financial data and then to consolidate it, analyze it, and so forth. And we'll have a chance to do that as well. So let's take a look at what happens when you click. So when you go to your computer, if you have Excel loaded, or if you go to one of the school computers and you click on the Excel button, then what you'll get is a screen that looks like this. So over on the left will be any files that existed recently. And on the right, what you see here is the first thing you'll see is something called a blank workbook. And that's what we'll work with when we go and look at individual assignments here. These other items here are templates that Excel provides, and basically if you want to take a shortcut to create a calendar or create a workflow or create a budget, then they provide a lot of really nice templates. And for those of you who have used Excel and are comfortable with it, I'd recommend you maybe look at some of the templates. They have some very helpful things here. The other thing they offer is something called Take a Tour. So this can go through some basic ideas on Excel that you may find helpful. So the way I will open up the blank workbook is just to click on this blank workbook with a single click, and that will open it up, and I'll get a, okay, so here's the blank workbook, and I'll get a blank spreadsheet that looks like this. So the blank spreadsheet, will have the rows, which are numbered, and the columns, which have letters, and then it has a ribbon at the top. And each of these has a different areas that we can look at. We'll look at the home area, if we want to insert the tab, the page layout tab, and formulas. Each of them will open up a different ribbon. So on the home tab, the ribbon that we have here are things like formatting, bold, italic, underline, change the color of things, I can use dollar signs or percentages, etc. But essentially, this gives us a lot of functionality, most of which we're going to ignore for our purposes, but some of it you may want to play around with. So a spreadsheet program, basically is used to enter data and it's helpful to quickly analyze and add up information. So if a cell is blank, clicking on any cell within the spreadsheet allows you to type into it immediately, and to edit the data in the cell, either double click on the cell or edit the cell from within the formula bar, which is at the top. Next, we make each piece of information you want in each data set the name of one of your columns. So I might want information about students or class year or school. And generally you'll want the first column to be the information that most clearly identifies each set of data. So in this case, the student's name. And then each row will have information about that particular student. Right? So the row contains a record, and each column identifies particular data within the records. So then we're going to look at the formulas, which is the bread and butter of Excel. So it's generally best if you're going to enter a formula, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, by starting with an equal sign. That lets Excel know you're intending to have a math formula here, as opposed to entering something as alpha. And there are other ways of doing it, but that's probably the easiest way to do it. So if I want to do a simple addition of, let's say, 3 cells, let's say I want to add up cells B1 through B3, I just put equals B1 plus sign, B2 plus sign B3, and that will give me, and that will add things up to 10. Okay, so if you think about, very simple. And one of the things about accounting I should note is that most of the math is simple, straightforward and simple. And we generally are using very basic math, sometimes simple algebra, but nothing more sophisticated than that. Okay. So the symbols that are used in Excel, plus sign to add, subtraction is a minus sign, the multiplication is this little star sign, and the division sign is this character here. Okay, so if I want to multiply 2 cells, I can do that, or I can multiply 2 values as well. Right? Same with addition. I can multiply a cell and a number, or 2 cells or 2 numbers. Okay, so that's true of any of our basic math symbols. So only reference cells with only values, or a combination. If you get an error in the formula, it'll give you some feedback. Okay, so there's some error messages that are very common. So the other thing is the order of operations. So generally you're going to work from, like algebra, inside the parentheses. So you can group things together, but essentially, if it's in the parentheses, it's going to follow the basic math operations. So first, all parentheses innermost first. If you have any exponents, third, multiplication, division, and then fourth, all additions and subtraction. So the easiest way to do this is just to put them in parentheses. Okay, so you can adjust column width by clicking and dragging the border. So I just grab this border and I just hold down the the left button and pull it over, and that will adjust the width, or I can adjust the height of any column or any row. I can also format cells. So I may want to bold it, I may want to change the color, I may want to move it from the left to the center. So if I use the formatting tool, format cells, then I have many options that are laid out here. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. We'll come back and look at that. Just want to let you know that there's many opportunities to format things to make them look nicer, and not gonna get bogged down on that. Okay, so So as I mentioned about formulas, they're basically simple math expressions, and we'll use this extensively in the course because we'll use a lot of basic simple math functions, and we'll become familiar with how to put things together. You can copy and paste formulas or values and so forth. Okay, so let's take a look at an example of a very simple Excel spreadsheet. We'll assume it's a basic income statement. That'll be next.